Good. Where are the chairs? We ought to be set up in this room.
It is working. I'm staying right in front of the running. They're next to you.
Oh.
Oh, this is maybe some state. Oh yeah, I guess.
Jen.
All right, Dave Brown? No. Dave Brown? No. Oh, there it is.
Oh.
Wow. I see him. Ready? Hello, everyone. How are you? Good. Hi. Good. I'm going to call the regular meeting to order. If you can have a pledge of allegiance, that'd be great. Thank you.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I appreciate everyone coming tonight. And there's a sign sheet for speakers. Has that been passed around? Or can we check on that? Anyone wants to speak? Thank you. Yes, it is. Good. Where do you want to go? All right. We're going to have a roll call. If everyone can please now be silent, and we're going to have a roll call.
Trustee Chapman.
Here.
Trustee Victor is absent. Supervisor Letso.
Here.
Trustee Shea. And Trustee Lawrence. Here.
Hello. If you keep the phones up, that'd be nice. Anyways, we have a roll call vote. We have a quorum. Our monthly approval of the minutes from the monthly meeting of June 14th. For a second. Can you keep down in the audience, please? Do we have a second? Second. Okay. Any discussion on the minutes?
I do have one thing. It's under trustee reports. It reports that Trustee Chapman was talking about pursuing grants, alternative energy, and implementation of a butterfly garden within the township for better sustainability. Do I understand that correctly?
Yes.
Are you talking about establishing a butterfly garden?
Yes, yes. At least one. I hope to do it in all 10 of our areas. So.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this for the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I'd like to bring up the minutes says that my amendment was to continue month by month, and it wasn't that. My amendment was to go back to the contract the way it was before it was voted on, amended by the previous board, to pay Dwight month by month. So the motion that I made to amend was to pay him through the end of the year on his contract. So we can correct that.
I apologize. It was really confusing.
Oh, yes, I know, I
What was
know.
going on? So I didn't know how quite you said it, because he said one way and another way. So what do you want me to exactly put?
Is
Down.
that the amendment was that Dwight's contract should read the same way that it did when Bob presented it, and that he'd be paid through the end of the year on that contract. And I did talk to Andrew about that again.
You make a motion to trust it, or it's just gonna be adjusted?
I'm making a motion to adjust that. Thank you.
Any further?
I just want to say.
Now, this is the motion for the adjustment.
Right.
Trustee Lawrence would like
I
to.
believe there was another motion at the end of this where it was, I in fact made a motion to table the last agenda item regarding legal counsel for Andrew Gosser, where I made a motion, it was seconded and it was voted on, and that's completely omitted from these minutes.
Well, we're actually on the motion to amend it.
Oh. Okay, sorry.
All right, then let's vote on that motion. To amend Dave Chapman's amendment to the minutes.
Trustee Chapman?
Yes.
Roll call?
Yes.
I am roll call.
Oh, you.
Oh. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And so then I make a motion to amend the
Minutes.
minutes to include my last motion, which you should be able to view the videotape and see easily what the word statement was and who voted for what regarding Andrew Gosser's legal counsel.
So can you make that form of a motion to adjust the minutes? Or read a second?
After executive session, is that what you're talking about?
Yes. It was the last motion before we adjourned.
To allow the highway commissioner to hire an attorney that practices labor law regarding dispute with local.
Now, it was a motion to table the first, because the original agenda item included two items. It included legal item and counsel for specifically the local 150.
Okay,
So the motion was to amend, or motion was to table the other counsel for the highway commissioner other than local 150, the dispute with local 150.
who seconded that?
No, I think the table, it has to be so date specific.
Correct. Until when, we'll do that parliamentary
We can
procedure.
review the videotape and see that.
I can do that. Who seconded her motion? Just now.
I believe it was Dan. Oh, sorry. Just now I don't.
Oh, I will.
Okay. Okay, all in favor? Say aye.
I,
Okay.
Okay. We're gonna, I
Do we
have
need to vote on the minutes now, or need to change these ones, or Jim?
well, I'll go back to the minutes.
Okay.
okay. So we need a motion. We already have,
Motion.
we just need a roll call voice vote.
Okay, so approval of the minutes with these amendments, and then, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay. We have audited bills and treasury reports for the town fund, expenditures of $72,012.29. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion on
Any second somewhere?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion?
I do have one concern, and that is that according to the DNA for the town fund, specifically the clerk's budget, and going over the last 2 months of bills from the Switch and Kelly, we have itemized usage of the clerk in the amount at least over $2,000 already, where her yearly budget is, I believe it's $2,500 for the year. That's only not including the vague entries, which we can't tell if was for the clerk or not. So it's my suggestion that we itemize which are for the clerk and which are not, so they can appropriate them to the proper line item.
Mr. also called me this evening, and I think the items that first I've ever been asked to specifically provide an itemized bill for the clerk's working test. Just looking at the bill, I highlighted those items that are clearly attributed to the clerk. I have 8.45 hours, $1,478. And if you want to reallocate that, I'll give you this bill, and then pay the balance minus the 1478. Then it'll go onto a separate invoice for the clerk. However, I think we're going to be far. That's what I've done. I'll just give it to Mr. Watson to take a look at this.
Yes, please. So this just includes the most recent bill for $10,000,
Yes.
over $10,000. So this doesn't include the last bill from after we
That's
last
was
one?
no.
Okay, so from my calculations, just from the ones that were to the clerk, it was over $2,094, and those were just from the unambiguously, clearly clerk.
Yeah, the things that are on that bill that are attributed to a clerk aren't necessarily chargeable. I mean, they're township work, where they're coordination of the lawsuits. Mr. McCardle, the clerk's attorney of the lawsuit is given his client and talked to me about it, and permission for her to talk directly to me instead of the clerk calling Mr. McCardle up. He'd bill her for that call, then he'd call me. Of course, he'd bill for that call. Some occasions he's called me to coordinate some of the really ministerial matters that are involved in the lawsuit. And that's resulted in this lawsuit against the supervisor of the township being dismissed this Friday by agreement of the parties. So that lawsuit is now being dismissed as moot with respect to the supervisor.
All right, thank you.
So,
No, sorry.
do you want to make a motion that we have an amended pay part of this bill?
Well, we can't, we can only vote on bills as they are presented to us. We can't vote on part of them. We don't have the authority to vote on partial payment. We can pay partially.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. I mean, that's,
Well, seeing as how my addition and your addition, I think we'll take a month to see whether or not, in fact, we'll compare the records. Give me some time to compare the records and see if, in fact, she has exceeded her budget, and then we'll go from there. So no, not at this time.
You don't want to pay that. Can we round it down so you can pay his staff and things? I mean, everyone has a right to work.
Make a motion to remove it. Make a motion to remove it.
Oh, okay.
This is
You're just gonna vote. Okay, you're just gonna vote for it? Okay. All right.
Chuck, same discussion on the same item. And please, if you would, explain the item in our bill packet tonight where the road commissioner wants to take money from one portion.
All right, we're off on it.
We're off on that?
Yeah, we can't go to that.
Okay, so then the question that I want to ask is there a way for us to add more to our budget?
Yes,
Okay.
that's something we're working on.
we can address it. I mean, you can't address it now. We'll talk
Yeah,
about it.
it's not on the agenda.
That's fine, that's fine.
Maybe we
I
can
just-
talk about it later, but I'm just want to pay.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, after next month, after, some back and forth, you know.
Today.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Are we talking about the bill still?
We're on The town fund, town fund.
Okay.
So we have a motion to pass the town fund? Right?
So moved.
Some discussions. Was, the town fund, did that include the, changing of your windows?
That was paid last month.
It was, okay. All right, well, we'll talk about it on Andrew's section.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, trustee Chapman,
Yes?
supervisor Watson,
Yes.
trustee Shay,
Yeah.
trustee Lawrence.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Motion, I'd like to entertain a motion, or I should say the motion for the town fund pass, monthly expenditures totaling $72,012.29. And I'd like to entertain a motion to pass the general assistance fund, which is $11,860.00. I'd like your motion. Pass.
I'll make a motion.
And I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? Okay,
Trustee Lawrence,
Yes.
supervisor Watson,
yes.
trustee Shay,
Yeah.
trustee Chapman.
Yes.
Motion carries.
So now we have the road and bridge fund. We have a amount of $200,052.72. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
All right.
I'm glad you came today. Can we get a second? I'll second it. Any discussion?
Yes, there are three actual bills that I'd like to have removed for separate consideration.
Okay,
The first being, I move to remove the bill for the Robert Hanlon legal account retainer, the original one that we saw last month. It appeared as a duplicate, and I believe that was an administrative error, and I confirmed that with Andrew, Highway Commissioner, that needs to be removed. For a second.
I second that motion. Oh, does any other discussion?
Do all three.
Okay.
Can we do all three together?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, also, and these are all administrative errors.
Right.
So the other one was for Bollinger Lock and Associates with the amount of $81,653.41. That's also not actually an invoice, it's actually a proposal. And it states such that it's a proposal, it states in it that it's a proposal and the total fee shall not exceed that amount. But it also says that invoices will be mailed out monthly, this being not an invoice. So that needs to be removed as well. And then last is, there's a duplicate billing for a Crystal Lake septic for $175. The invoice number is 82317. It actually appears in both the equipment and in two different funds when it should not be in the road and bridge fund. That's a duplicitous entry and needs to be removed because it's already in the equipment.
It wasn't split into two.
No.
Okay.
Okay,
And then, is this what I asked about the Andrew?
I think you could.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, wait, no, let's-
Second on-
No, you do all, you do all, do all, the whole board, whatever the board wants to pull out before you vote, so.
Are you pulling something else out?
I maybe,
Oh, okay.
I just want to make sure I'm in the right.
Okay,
Okay.
Well, let's do this one.
there's a lot of money here.
Unless it's part of this.
It's questions, and it may not be pulled out, I just had a couple of
Okay, well,
questions.
let's get this one done, please.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
need a second on,
Second,
okay. Trustee Chapman,
yes?
supervisor Wetzel,
Yes.
and trustee Shay,
Yeah,
trustee Lawrence.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Sure. Is the,
No, you didn't make a motion on everything.
Well, not yet.
No,
sorry.
he
That's
is,
all right, that's all
he
right.
has some discussion.
That's all right. So again, questions since we're new here and want to make sure we get the right questions asked. Residents of our township can use the bill online after tonight. Is that true? Can they see the expenses?
They can always, for the agenda, we're trying to get to the, spot where we want to have them online.
Okay, all right.
We're working on it very shortly.
That was one question.
We've kind of been surprised with a few other things that have come our way.
Okay.
But that's a goal of ours, to definitely do that.
And are we talking at this time about the movement of the funds from one fund?
No, we're not.
Okay. Then we're talking about the yellow hats, the high visibility hats. So, and this is Trustee Victor, because she couldn't be here tonight. She has a meeting that she can't miss at work. But she asked the question, there was a bill for some high visibility, bright yellow hats. And of course, I at first thought, well, here we go. You know, he's just trying to get rid of anything that reminded people of Bob. And so I was kind of upset with it, and as was Melissa. But then I chose to make a phone call to Andrew and ask him, you know, why do we have to change? How do the residents of our township benefit by you getting rid of the old township hats that we had logos for years? The high visibility hats are a life safety issue. And all the guys in township, when they're out working on roads, they have these dark blue hats. The bright visibility with a silver lining is reflective, and so it does help those guys to be seen. So it's a life safety issue. It was a small bill, but again, it was a question that we had. So the other one, and he's not here, and I didn't ask him about it today, was why did the windows get tinted?
But in my case, I can answer mine.
And it's got to be the same reason, right?
No,
Okay.
no.
All right.
I
Okay.
decided I wanted my window tinted because I'm very allergic to fluorescent lights, and I had it set up, but it cost like, I forgot what it cost, $89, and I just use a lamp now when I'm in the office. It saves my eyes.
Very good. I just, you know, we all talk about transparency, and then the
Well,
first thing we
I'm
do
always-
is, you
I'm
know,
always
there's
open to have anyone call me or contact me.
absolutely.
Okay.
And
And then when I did it, Andrew did it. Okay.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
but I,
Whatever.
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
let's keep it down.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Chuck. That's all the questions that I had.
Okay.
We'll answer. That's the answers that we're looking for tonight.
Fine.
Okay, so we need to vote on the,
We're already voting on the 3 items
right, so now it's back to the,
on the overall and
Road and bridge,
Rich.
road and bridge fund.
Right, Supervisor Wetzel,
Yes.
Trustee Lawrence,
Yes.
Trustee Shay,
yeah,
Trustee Chapman.
Yes.
Okay, motion, for the road and bridge fund passes. Equipment and building, we have $28,238.69. And, like, have a motion to pass.
So,
Okay, thank you.
you second it?
No.
I second it.
You go right ahead.
Any discussion?
Trustee Lawrence,
yes.
Supervisor Wetzel,
Aye.
Trustee Shay,
Yes.
Trustee Chapman.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we have public comments. Speakers are welcome to address the board for 3 minutes, and we have a sign sheet, but if someone wants to speak, we're not gonna hold it to the sign sheet, so you want to be added? Well, all right, we'll just let you go first. Go ahead.
Very quickly, just proceed.
Luann Wachowski, Barrington Hills.
Okay,
There you go.
thank you. I observed that you had seconded the motion. I don't think the chairman can either make a motion or second it.
Let's see, pass the gavel. You're right.
Okay,
And you only vote. to
thank you
break-
very much.
Only vote to break ties, correct?
No, I vote on all issues.
Okay, but no motions and no seconds.
Okay.
We can make motions.
We can do that.
Yes, you should.
Okay,
You seconded the,
thank you. I know you're a parliament. I can't say the word, but I know.
Parliamentary.
Parliamentarian. Okay, so which one was that?
General,
General assistance. So Bianchi made the motion, I guess. Can we get our second?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Can we do another roll call? Thank you.
Is there any discussion? No. Yeah, I'd like to have some discussion. Does everybody know what the General Assistance Fund is and what it does and how to get it? Because I think it's important, you know,
Dave.
residents. What?
Yes, that's fine. I mean,
It's germane to the subject.
okay.
All right. So the General Assistance Fund helps people out in tough times. And the township has a fund that does help people in the township that are in emergency situations. A house gets burnt down or they're flooded out, especially with the weather like today. But that money is available for residents to come and make an application. It is totally secret. There is a special team. We don't get to see those things because the privacy is protected. But I wanted to let the township residents know that that is available, and it's something that if you know somebody that does suffer, there's something else that can be done to them.
Thank you. Okay. Can we get any other discussion? I guess not. Roll call vote.
Supervisor Wetzel,
Yes.
trustee Lawrence,
Yes.
trustee Shay,
Yes.
trustee Chapman.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for putting that correction. We have speakers who are welcome to address the board for 3 minutes each, and I know we have a Richard. Hey, I'm
Right
sorry.
here. Do you want me to go up the mic or you guys?
However you like, if you just feel comfortable there, or,
Yeah, I'm comfortable right here.
thank you.
Hello, everybody tonight. My name is Richard Fay. I'm a business representative for Local 150. I'm here tonight to speak about the mess the new highway commissioner has put everybody in here. As you know, this past spring, the road district employees organized and the Illinois Labor Relations Board certified Local 150 as the exclusive representatives of the employees here. Mr. Gasser's predecessor, Mr. Miller, signed a collective bargaining agreement with Local 150. Mr. Miller signed the agreement between us and Local and the Township. At that point, the law was imposed on Mr. Miller, and he had an obligation to bargain in good faith with Local 150. Mr. Miller complied with his obligation. He bargained and executed a contract with Local 150. Mr. Gasser's first act upon becoming commissioner in the wee hours, his first act was to fire 3 employees here. Shortly thereafter, Mr. Gasser formally repudiated the collective bargaining agreement. Local 150 then filed grievances in response to the discharges and the other contract violations. And those grievances are being processed through the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Services right now. After Mr. Gasser repudiated the party's CBA, Local 150 filed a FOIA request. Mr. Gasser refused to produce any request information. This prompted Local 150 to file a lawsuit which alleged a violation of FOIA. They are asking for the circuit court to declare what the grounds are for this FOIA. Mr. Gasser and the road district have filed a countersuit. They are asking the circuit court also to declare to void the CBA on the grounds that Mr. Miller lacked the authority to enter into that agreement. Everybody on this board knows and should know the duties of the highway commissioner and the relationship between the board and the commissioner. There's no legal authority to support Mr. Gasser's position. Bob Miller had the legal obligation to negotiate this contract with Local 150, and he had that authority to enter into a multi-year collective bargaining agreement with us. Mr. Gasser is playing house with house money. The parties currently have 1 case pending in the circuit court, 1 case pending before the Illinois Public Relations Board, and 5 cases pending before the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Services. He's made a risky bet with the taxpayer's dollar. If Mr. Gasser is wrong, and Mr. Miller had the authority to enter the contract with Local 150, which we believe he did, the board is going to have to pay big legal bills to pay. They're going to have to pay back pay awards to the discharge employees that are out there, amongst other expenses to the employees that are still working here. You all have your fiduciaries, and I know this board does not control the actions taken by the highway commissioner, but it does approve its expenses. I urge you to cut off the funding for the litigation now. waste of taxpayers' money
We're at the 3 minutes.
and frankly, an embarrassment to the township. Frankly, an embarrassment to the township.
Thank you. Jenny, second. Jenny?
Yes.
Go ahead. Thank you.
That bill you spoke of earlier for 72,000, was that for the legal fees?
Which legal fees?
For the township with the lawsuits.
Okay.
That hasn't been presented yet.
Okay. So we paid all the bills, but go ahead, you can speak for 3 minutes.
Okay. I'd like to start off with a quote from Abraham Lincoln. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. And I'm referring to Andrew Gasser for not showing up tonight. He has evaded responsibility from day one with multiple lawsuits. Retainer of $20,000 for Hanlon Mart. May 15th, 2017. That was his first day on the job. $71,000 total legal fees to be approved by the Board of Trustees tonight, from what I hear. And if any board member approves this, they are not a friend of the taxpayers, but only to Andrew Gasser. You do not need to pay his legal fees for the mess that he caused. $71,000 in the lawsuit Gasser caused in 59 days. He's only been in office in 59 days. That is $1,203.40 a day he is costing us. This is not integrity. This is not transparency, and this is not reform. This is ridiculous. Andrew Gasser promised to post township bills and salaries online. He made that promise on his Facebook campaign page on January 23rd, 2017. He has not done that. I have FOIA'd multiple times, and half of them get denied. So when you suggest that we FOIA, it's a joke to me. Other residents who have gotten denied by Andrew Gasser. So I suggest that if we're going to go through this lawsuit, to start posting the legal fees online. Because we all deserve to know, day by day, what this township is doing to its residents.
We have reports from any of the elected officials can have reports. You know the answer, right? Highway Commissioner Gasser is. Oh,
Highway Commissioner regrets to inform people that he has a meeting regarding the cash. Excuse me, can we have order in this meeting, please?
I could not hear what she said.
Okay, you know what? Let me back up. I still want to, we had a sign sheet, but like I said, anyone who wanted to speak, we're here to listen to you, okay?
Yeah,
Can
I
you
would-
identify yourself?
Cal Skinner, I would like you to post an agenda packet which has all the bills and all the things that will be considered by the township trustees and the supervisor before the meeting, so that we can see what you see.
We have reports from the elected officials, and we have, first up is the Highway Commissioner, and I think you are.
May I speak?
Yes, go ahead.
The Highway
Please, sir.
Commissioner regrets to inform you that he has a meeting emergency failure.
Please, so you're out of order. Just let her speak, and we let you speak.
On one of the township maintained roads, and he is now meeting with constituents regarding that issue, doing his job. So he regrets to inform you he won't be here
Can you
today.
tell us the location of this?
This is a job.
Okay,
Where this is not a discussion.
you're out of order. listen. Okay, the assessor. I have nothing. Okay. Mark. Clerk?
Okay, Trustee Chapman had brought up, maybe some transfer of funds. The reason that we're thinking about this is, my goal is to digitize the whole record keeping of the township, and we have records in several places on the property. And
From
I
how
want,
long?
I'm sorry?
From how long ago?
From what I can tell on the pallets that are up in the bus depot, I know it dates back to at least the early 70s, maybe some to the late 60s. There's never been a destruction order taken through the state. It's a state overseen by the state, and they come in and tell you what you can destroy and what needs to be kept. But I want to back everything up and digitize it so that we can get some kind of streamlined process and not have them scattered everywhere, because that makes people have access to them. I don't know what's been there, what's been gone, all of that. So in order to do that, it's a huge task. I work full-time. I need to have help doing that process. And I also need a building or somewhere to store what I do have. So that's kind of where we're thinking we could also transfer some funds to my budget. So that's kind of where we're at.
Thank you.
And we're streaming again this week, or this month. Hopefully it's going well. Is it going?
I think
Okay,
so.
all right. So I think it went well last month. We had a lot of views on it, and we're getting there. So I'm trying to, as far as the FOIA process, we tried to fix that as well. There's the highway department has been working well with me to send the FOIAs that he's been sending out, or his secretary's been sending out. And I usually get all of that. There's a couple of FOIAs that I haven't received I'm looking for with the township office, but I think it's just not knowing who's going to take care of it. We're moving forward best we can.
Okay, thank you very much.
As a trustee, I want to mention, I don't know how many people know, but we do have, during the day, regular work hours, there are sandbags available. Hopefully the people won't need them. But it turns out that quite often the river particularly takes up to 3 days to come up to its peak, rather because of the way the water comes in from so far down the creek. So I just wanted to be mentioned that we do have the material, although that is not out of the supervisor's or the trustee's job, but it should be made available to the people out there.
Yeah. Oh, there.
You know what? We're out of order. I'm sorry. I know I'd like to help on something like that, but we have to keep order. The attorney? Nothing.
I'd like.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. You first, Rachel.
Okay, well, actually, I have several things, so if yours is
No, to ask the attorney?
No, I skipped.
the rest of the
Yeah,
trustees.
yes. Go ahead.
David,
No, you go first.
Okay.
I'll go second.
Well, there's actually several things that I'd like to bring to the attention of the board. The first being, I've received complaints about specifically the calendar on the website. People are kind of confused about the relationship or lack thereof between the township and the road district. And so a lot of people will look onto the calendar, and I believe that it would be more efficient for people to be able to look at the calendar and see all township related events, perhaps color coded by what's a road district event, or what's a, I think it should be all in one place. And also, I've received another email from another woman who was upset that they were not informed timely enough of with the recycling and stuff like
like that. And so I was just wondering who among the township employees and officers is responsible access to update that? Who is responsible for updating? Will it certain people?
Now, I believe separate website talking about, we haven't had a meeting with the, about that at all.
So who has access right now? Township.com.
We have, our office, the supervisor's office, can do the, that's correct.
Thing that I wanted to bring up, one of the bills which we just approved, Road and Bridge, it was for Waukegan, a leak at the building, specifically removed the ceiling tiles and found wiring coming through a hole in the deck and water dripping out of the hole. This all happened to be directly above Andrew Gosser's office. Measured off the area inside and transferred the measurements into the roof area, inspected the roof system, and found a pipe with wire running through it open at the top, applied sealant as needed to the wiring at the top of the pipe. And attached are pictures, photographs of this weather cup, and it kind of reminded me of something that I noticed from a couple of months ago, a bill that was approved by ACE Security Systems, in which one of the tasks itemized was replace weather station wind speed cups broken on rooftop weather station. And so I would just suggest to Andrew Gosser or the supervisor, I believe it was Road and Bridge, Road District, yes. And I will be working with him to see where it was in fact caused inadvertently by security systems. I want to bring to concerning to me that I came across or was presented to me regarding some public posts on social media regarding our township lawyer. This is, I printed them out. It's an exchange, or what appears to be an exchange, between Tom Gooch, who I later learned is representing Mr. Bob Miller, our former highway commissioner, and Jim Kelly, who is representing, or someone who represents, sorry, who is representing himself as Jim Kelly, who is representing our township as well as Charles Letzow in an adversarial lawsuit, as we all know, against, involving Bob Miller. And this is a public post on Tom Gooch's page. It's specifically an exchange between Jim and the night back has his finger to Representative David. That comment, representing Bob Miller, said, "You are so right, but his day is." I contacted Attorney Kelly concerned and how this would appear to the public. This is all dated March 4th, just days after the election, or the primary election, in which the new highway commissioner was elected. And just to be sure that this was not some imposter, because Mr. Kelly on the telephone informed me that he would be very questionable. He would question any interaction between him and Tom Gooch, or what appeared to be that. And so just to be sure, I clicked on the name Jim Kelly, and to be sure that it was not someone who was just using your name and photograph. It says that this profile worked at Methuselah, Kelly, and McKeever, studied law at IIT, Chicago Kent College of Law, from North Tonawanda, New York. And so this brings concern to me. I think it should bring concern to other people as well. I think that it brings an appearance of impropriety, or at the very least, some sort of emotional response to your personal relationship with Bob Miller, and I wonder if it presents a conflict of interest in your representation.
All right, so, excuse me, please. All right, let's keep it down. I always say don't look at Facebook, but that's just my opinion. But Mr. Chairman, you have a report? Wow.
This keys in with one of the principles that I found works very well when you're working with people, even with family. You know, I mean, they're family and all that, but you sometimes don't always agree, and that certainly is the case here, and there's no mistaking that. It was reinforced just a minute ago. And what I'm trying to do as a trustee is to open up the lines of communication among everyone. And I'll ask one question. I hate to do it, but I'm going to ask, Rachel, was this known about before today that you had to bring this up in public, that you couldn't have talked to Jim?
I did bring this up to Attorney Kelly, like I mentioned. After it was brought to my attention, I did not make anything of it. It was actually, if we want to go into detail.
No, I don't. Absolutely
okay.
not.
Okay.
I think this is not very productive.
But it
Okay, that's all I wanted to know was-
to answer your question, it was known about before today. As I had mentioned, I did bring it to his attention first. And especially because it was moments after, within hours after my conversation with Jim Kelly about it, he discouraged me from bringing it up at public comment in a public board meeting. And the message was, excuse me, the message was deleted from Facebook shortly thereafter, which confirms that there was some hesitation at least.
All right, please. All right, we heard enough. The story's giving me a headache here already. So
I'll get back. Sure. I'll get back to my comments.
Can you,
hang on a second. So what we want to try and do is, and of course, the highway commissioner doesn't have to do what we, say and all that. However, with the situation the way that it is now, everybody's sitting on a knife edge blade. We want to try and see if we can pull back some by having opening lines of communication. That is part of transparency. And so what I suggested is when we have a question, don't wait until the night of the meeting and then bring it up and drop it like a bomb. The supervisor doesn't like to be surprised. None of us like to be surprised. And I'm sure after talking with the highway commissioner, he certainly doesn't like to either. It's his prerogative to, he doesn't have to tell us things, but I suggested to him, and he agreed that going forward, he would start letting us know so that when somebody says something, we'll have a place to go to get the right answer. And as far as I know, Andrew told me that he was being out again with residents tonight. And so as far as I know, he has not lied to me. And so I have to take him at his word for that. So.
all right, let's move on.
Yep.
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
And I concur with your reasoning on open communication. Okay, attorney?
Well, I originally had nothing to say. However, Trustee Lawrence did call me up as represented, and it was in the context that I was a friend of Tom Gooch.
No, Bob Miller.
It was in the context of I was a friend of Tom.
You're not allowed to speak.
Come on. Come on, let's just get in line. I agree with you. I agree. Too out of order. Let's move on.
I have a conflict of interest in some manner representing the township with respect to this friendship with Tom Gooch. First and foremost, I will tell you, and anyone that knows Tom Gooch will agree with me, is that I don't think Tom Gooch has any friends. I've been his adversary for about the last 15 years. I'm currently litigating against him on behalf of another municipality. We're defending the municipality against a lawsuit brought by Mr. Gooch. And that's been the course of my conduct. I've had a professional relationship with him. As for Facebook, I will let everyone put whatever weight they want to on Facebook. I will tell you, not only don't I post on Facebook, but I certainly don't know how to delete anything on Facebook. So if you want to believe what's on Facebook, God bless you, but I don't, and I don't know where that post came from. Not that I'm agreeing or disagreeing with the post, or not that I don't know Mr. Gooch, because I certainly do. But I will tell you, we have a professional relationship, and it has no impact on my work at the township.
Thank you very much. Okay, the old business, I just wanted to mention one thing. We had a few calls and questions from folks regarding executive session. We always put that on the agenda, but we don't always go to executive session. So just so you know. Anyways, we have a presentation from Trustee Chapman regarding the Greenest Region Compact 2 endorsement.
There's a couple that I have extra, if you could pass those around. That'd be great. The mess with the screen and the tables, the projector there was fine for doing a PowerPoint presentation. And when I came home from work today, my nephew went back to the city and had taken my laptop. So I went back to the old-fashioned way, and I'll recycle these papers when we're done. The Greenest Region Compact is an outgrowth of the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus. And what it was designed to do was to encourage municipalities to focus on different goals to help make their sustainable, provide a resource to their residents. And as a member for 4 years on that committee, I can tell you that it was phenomenal that we're there. And so I asked our caucus, specifically the environment committee, village president Bob Nunmaker, and whether, although we are not a municipality, whether we join and attend the meetings and get the information. That they replied in the affirmative. They require a resolution. The resolution costs $4. They're held most often they're over the monthly meeting, but there are seminars and just that we can that we believe that we would then want to go for some of the pride from the corporations. Gave out $4.1 million in the Chicago different municipalities saving advice. And we believe that that will also be, you know, that information that that money and maybe do some township. Decide that for those things. At least it's still compact, which gives us a place to start. Now, Algonquin Township has a record, an award-winning recycling program. Things that I expect Edith McGraw, the environmental office, would chalk the road commissioner to the township has done past, 10 or set a benchmark. We could talk among ourselves again about advertising some of these things in out there. We would be fourth grouping to adopt this. adopted the Greenest Region Act 2 on board, and there was at a macaque dinner, which encourages at least look at it. So the 10 items that are the Greenest Region Compact are climate, resiliency, community, economic development by promoting innovation, workforce, by local and sustainable development, jobs, and business. There's nothing on there that's adverse to any of our residents in the township. Of course, land and strategic, certainly you'll hear from the road commissioner his plans for the flooding that's been definitely big hit. Leadership and looks for, since a little by yourself, but you, there are discussions about mobility, whether or not cases will come here. We've now one of the legal has been taken care of to allow cases bus line to come out here and break boom for the municipality to come to their town. They have, and so now it's a partnership. Waste and recycling. I want to talk. I can't very much about it, but we're in the works. A coalition plan, road commissioner and defenders to have Algonquin Township be more recycling. Anybody, I'll tell you, stations out of 100 around the U.S. Very, very, very hard. There's a very low profit margin, and the defenders will do all the work. We'll provide materials. I don't know details out, but again, it just shows that assisting our residents. Water use efficiently. Something in the new that residents can use, and whether or ComEd or some other thing, save money and better prepare for the future environment. What I'm asking is to have read the resolution, and I'll ask for a motion to region compact. Yes.
Okay. Metropolitan Act 2, whereas the Metropolis provides a forum officials of the Chicago region to develop act on common public policy issues and multi-jurisdictional challenges, and the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus participating mayors, village presidents, township supervisors, and their communities have a history of environmental stewardship, from energy efficiency, water conservation, urban forestry, and participation in clean air accounts. And whereas it is important for mayors and local township governments throughout the United States to take leadership roles to advance sustainability both in their own communities and in concert with regional, national, and global initiatives. And whereas the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus created the Greenest Region Compact 2 to address environmental sustainability issues of global importance at the local level. And whereas the Greenest Region Compact 2, also called the GRC2, is built on important environmental initiatives already underway in communities in partnership with many nonprofit, state, regional, and national organizations. And whereas the GRC2 synthesizes sustainability goals already adopted by leading communities in the region, and these consensus goals align with common regional, state, national, and global objectives. And whereas the GRC2 offers a companion framework to guide communities of all sizes and strengths to assess their current efforts, develop a sustainability plan suited to local priorities, and will offer resources to help them succeed. And whereas the consensus goals of the Greenest Region Compact 2 will guide coordinated efforts toward enhanced quality of life for residents, protection and stewardship of the environment, and sustainable economic vitality. Now therefore be it resolved that the Township of Algonquin endorses the Greenest Region Compact 2 proposed by the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus and agrees to work to achieve them both in their own communities and in collaboration throughout the region. Passed this 12th day of July 2017 by the Board of Trustees of Algonquin Township, McHenry County, Illinois. So I need a motion. So I have a motion.
I'll second it for the sake of open for discussion.
So,
Yeah, I move.
okay. Okay, any discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
First off, these are strictly suggestions, not requirements.
That's correct.
Because the wording of the resolution at the end, it says it agrees to work to achieve them, which could be interpreted as being more mandatory than just suggestion.
Agrees to work towards achieving them. Well, that's exactly what it is. And there are 10 things on there. And if we want to work on one, then we've fulfilled our agreement of working towards achieving them. So it's not a commitment, and every community that is a part of this knows that, and it's spoken about at the committee. So yeah, it's not.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that while it's definitely, I mean, I think all of us can agree that it's for good purpose. All of us can agree that it's a worthwhile cause, and that we all, I mean, our township in particular, like you said, is leading the way in many ways. For, I mean, we have buildings outside that are heated by recycled oil, you know. So, and we have one of the most award-winning recycling centers around. So, that said, I guess I just echo what Dan said, is that agrees to work toward achieving them, but you did answer my question. So, being that it's just an endorsement, there is no, and being that, you know, any actions we take toward this will be individually considered and discussed and voted upon, my vote will be yes.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
We control the first string, so, you know, we can choose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trustee Lawrence?
Yes.
Supervisor Letzo?
Yes.
Sorry. Trustee Shea?
Yes.
Trustee Chapman?
Yes. And I thank you for your consideration.
All right, here's my signature.
Thank you. Thank you. There you go. Thanks for the
Where's mine?
Wow. That's cool. You got a pencil, right? I got a pen.
All right, so now, old business. Any old business?
The only old business was the
Was me,
tabling
right?
to the next.
Okay. All right, so we have talked of transfer of appropriations in the town fund. Okay, we don't have anything to do on that today. I think, no. We don't have a resolution made, and we can discuss it a little bit, but there's a couple issues. Unfortunately, we are inquiring legal bills, and just looking at you. And so we are in a situation where at some point, we're gonna have line items in the budget that we might have to transfer, and we have to vote on those and disclose those to the public. And
The framework of, and there are two, I see the road district has a same item or a similar item. Once you have your, cast your budget, appropriations ordinance, you can't change it essentially during the year. The only way you can change, there are two methods to change it. One of them is to amend the budget, which basically you have to go through the entire budget process again to include publication. Now, there's a second method allowed in the Illinois municipal budget law, which basically allows for 10% transfers within any fund. So you can basically make line item transfers. And the way that's done is through a resolution where you transfer from one fund to another. The township, we've done that before.
There's another one here.
Right.
Oh, sure.
But with regard to the town fund, there are a couple items. First, the clerk, based on her, and I'll let her talk about what she needs, but she has a budget, line items on her budget for only about $11,000. Because of the way the township has evolved after the election, where she's going to need to manage the records differently and obtain control over all of them. That's just not sufficient. So she's going to be asked for a presentation with respect to what she needs, as well as I think she's looking for some help doing that. And it's my understanding part-time for a short period of time, but she only has $11,000 in the budget. You know, she's already spent some of that on, I think, equipment already. So she's going to need to have that, and I'll let her talk about what she needs. Then the legal fees. Right now we have the clerk has outside counsel defending her in a lawsuit. We haven't seen their bill yet that I know of. I don't know. That most likely will be significant. So she's going to have, right now I believe she has $2,500 in a line item for legal fees. That's clearly going to be insufficient. Right now you have a line item for attorney's fees for the township itself, but at the rate things are going, you're probably going to need to adjust that. And you can use this 10% line item transfer to do that. From what I understand, and I did speak with Mr. Gasser, he has a serious problem with the bridge, and there was catastrophic failure, and he's indicated that he's going to need about $300,000 moved around so that he can pay for the bridge and some of the repairs that need to be done.
And the big cost too is the engineering, I believe.
Yeah, well, the engineering will probably be $70,000 or $80,000. So it's a huge amount of money. And he's going to have to shift money around. But that's the purpose of these resolutions. I guess the township will probably bring one next month. And does Mr. Gasser have one in here actually for this model proposal?
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't seen
but those, you can look at those. And that's what he's proposing on the, so you need to look at those going forward. And that the only reason I'm talking about it now is because over the next 4 years, this will come up from time to time. Usually there are adjustments 2/3 of the way into the year, not into the first part of the second quarter. So this is unusual. So we get large expenses, but no money in line items to pay for them.
So,
I have any questions?
what I'm told is it's good bookkeeping to make these line item transfers right before
Right.
we incur these expenses. So,
One of the things that the supervisor was talking about is, let's say you have a line item that only has $10,000 in it, and suddenly you have this catastrophic event, and you have to spend $20,000 or $30,000 for, let's say, a capital repair in a building. Well, you can't pay that bill, which means when it comes due, the supervisor by law is required to submit that bill at the next board meeting after he receives the bill. So he's gonna get the bill, he's gotta put it in the packet and present it. And that bill, according to law, needs to be paid 20 days after the bill is approved by the board. And really what the board is doing is, and that's why they can't approve it, is because you don't have money in the line item to pay the bill. So while that bill sits there on a lawful expense, we're going to have to pay interest pursuant to statute for not paying that bill timely. There's a statute that applies to all governments in the state of Illinois that if your government doesn't pay its bill within 30 days after it's presented, unless there's a separate contract that changes that timeline, you're going to incur a statutory rate of interest that you have to pay. So if we know or anticipate expenses and can forecast them a little bit, we need to change and adjust those line items so that when that bill comes in, we can move forward. And with the clerk, for example, she can't necessarily hire a person to assist her in inventorying the records and then digitizing them until there's some money in a line item for her to hire that person. So she's at a standstill at this point. So that's sort of one of the reasons why it's a good idea to amend but shift funds within line items at this point. The problem is you can only move for the entire year on the aggregate amount of 10%. So if you have $1 million budget, that means that during the entire year, you can only move $100,000. You can't move $100,000 this month, $100,000 next month. It's for the entire, it's a total amount that you can move throughout the year. But anyway, that's where you are. As far as Karen wants to talk about what she's going to need prior to, I guess, the next meeting, if you want to talk about the issue, talk about it now.
Well, like I said earlier, I need a space. I need some kind of space. We need to figure out what that would be. We've had some ideas between Jim and Chuck and myself, and so we're trying to figure that out, and we need a cost associated with that. But I'm going to need help because, and I'm going to have to, if I can't get help from the highway department to get those skids down, I'm going to have to get a contractor in here to get those down for me. I mean, it's an enormous amount of work to even obtain the records, to be able to reach them. So there's a lot of things that are going to go into it, and digitizing them, I need to figure out a way that I'm going to do that, how it'll be most cost effective, etc. So, and then I need to inventory them first off to see what we have. I need to get a hold of the state to have them come out and look through them with me and tell me what we can and what we can't get rid of, and then start the process. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'll be more than happy to do a presentation at the next meeting to show you exactly where all the records are currently, and who has access to them. My main concern is securing them and making sure that I know what we have currently now that I'm in office. So that's where we're at.
Thank you. I have one question. Actually two, but they're really easy.
Okay.
The first one is, you mentioned the things that you need. You said you need help. What do you mean by that? Help?
I need an employee.
Okay, so you'd like to hire someone
I
on
would,
staff?
yes, just like we discussed.
Okay, and then you also said, okay, so then the other thing, I guess it's not a question, is would you, I guess it is a question, would you be willing to, in your presentation next month, present exactly where, like Andrew Gasser did, present exactly where out of the town fund you'd like to remove from to enter into your your budget?
Sure, I need to speak with
Yeah, that's pretty
Supervisor
much-
Letzel. That's his
I
fund.
pretty much would come up with some ideas on that.
So you'll
where
collaborate
that
on
will
that and
transfer
bring
from.
it to.
What I'd like to see though is just, too, is if you can get it to us sooner, I mean, a written proposal of what you're trying to do, and if it could be phased in.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know why we need to do everything at once, but that's just, you know, we're trying to be, I know we're trying not to spend money, even though it seems like we are spending money, and, which is not something I really like to do. Anyways, whatever. Okay. Do we take action on the township,
If you want to, it's up to you.
okay. So we have,
Supervisor Leto?
yes,
All of the papers in here seem to be adopted this 12th day of April, 2017. That needs to be modified.
yeah, okay, we were, working under a little bit of tight constraints on this. Yeah, so that would be adopted, that would be changed. Transfer of appropriation on the township. So we're not even looking at the township one, but you're right, the transfer,
And why, can I ask, why wouldn't we do the township and the road district tonight if you have the resolution already written? Is that,
because I haven't even, this is the first I've seen it. I mean, I didn't know which funds we didn't have any discussions of which funds we're taking.
There's no resolution.
What's that?
There's no resolution. No resolution written.
There's no resolution,
No
okay.
resolution written is this one right here.
Okay, that's
It's
what
a typo.
what's an example? Was that an example?
In this packet?
Yeah.
No, this is what we're voting on tonight.
Okay,
It's on the agenda.
okay. All right. So then I'm confused.
Yeah, the only thing I see.
So on the agenda, initially we were gonna have one for the town fund.
Right.
And one for road and bridge.
I get that.
We didn't create one for town fund because it was an emergency to get it done.
Right, so we're not doing that.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I
The one
thought.
that we're voting on is the one that's included here. There's three.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I do have to say something, and Mr. Kelly can back me on this. The retainment of the records is somewhat urgent because they are not protected. And I'm concerned with that, and I've been concerned with that from day one, with records being moved and shuffled around where I knew when one spot was and now they're not there anymore and now they're moved again. So I need to make sure that the records are not compromised, not changed in any way and not moved anymore. And I need to make sure they're protected. And Mr. Kelly and I have spoken about that at length. And I know that he agrees with me. I don't think it's something we need to wait for another month or two to get this taken care of. So when you say urgent, I mean, I think they're both.
Yeah, there's no resolution. for your vote.
No, what I'm saying is he mentioned it's not urgent, but it is to me.
Who said it was?
Well, we could have voted on it today if there was a resolution.
I didn't say that. Some of the records that not used, but they're old. But there are other ones that you need to take. Or you don't have law.
What I'm saying,
Okay. Yeah. All right. I didn't mean it that way.
okay.
All right. So Mr. Kelly, can you explain this? We're moving this from the fuel lubricants and the road.
Well, this is the first, I'm sorry, this is the first time I've seen this resolution also.
Okay. All right.
And I'm not sure why we get three. I don't know if the highway commissioner was here to explain it, but no, I'm serious, so I mean, I don't understand why we have three different resolutions.
I can answer the question on the third resolution, and you guys okay?
Let Dave speak.
The third resolution is to be transferred to make an urgent repair to a bridge, and he did tell me what bridge it is. And what I said is that I wouldn't be comfortable until I at least saw the engineering study. And he agreed with that, that makes sense, that we should see what the engineering is before we go and approve the whole dollar amount for the bridge repair. And I understand that that will be a priority as the assessment of our roads and bridges has been ongoing already, and that several of our bridges in the township are in urgent need of attention, as they are all over the country. I understand that. But before I would vote to approve transferring that money, I would want to see the engineering study that shows that it's going to cost $86,000, $96,000.
I have it right here if you'd like to see it.
You have the engineering
I
study?
have the proposal from Bowling Green Lock and Associates. If you'd like to see it.
Well, I'd like to see it, but I'd like everybody to see it, and I'd like not to.
It was in the public building.
Was it?
Remember I just removed it?
Yeah, you removed it.
Yeah, but it was there.
It was a proposal,
Yeah.
but it's not an engineering study. That's what I'm asking for,
Well,
Rachel.
your wish is granted, it's not, we're not voting on that.
That's great, and that's what I was just saying is, so everybody knows, you know, and Andrews are cool with that.
So this, okay. Would you like to know?
No, I want to see an engineering study. It's something different than the proposal.
Well, I just hate doing things, you know, we have a attorney reviewing the bill, like to explain the resolution. If we feel comfortable, we can vote. But I think we're just moving money over so that the highway commissioner has enough funds for legal. Is that correct? Yes.
The typo at the bottom under the adopted.
Trying to get a understanding. It looks like we need first resolution, which is in the packet, states that is hereby transfer the unexpended balance from line item 6500.006 fuel and lubricants in the road and bridge fund, in the sum of $9,500, and is added to legal services. Okay, so that's easy. In the same fund. And then making the adjusted appropriations in the first line item. So he's basically telling you in this that he's moving $9,500 from fuel and lubricants to his legal services fund. And then he's giving you the remaining, or the new fund balances, the line item balances for each one of those line items. That's what this particular resolution is for. So he's moving $9,500 legal services.
Okay. That's not very much money. We're talking here, I mean, the vote.
Well, the second line item, or the second appropriate resolution, these could have been all done all together, it looks like, but he's moving $11,000 from maintenance supplies to legal services. So he's a separate resolution. I suggest in the future that we just do all this on one resolution. But, so he's got two resolutions, one moving $9,500 and the second moving $11,000 to legal services.
The only thing that I had was what I emailed you, and it had it all separate resolutions, so that's why I put it in like that.
Okay, we can modify this. In the
And
future.
when you say 10%, does that mean that 10% of the entire budget or 10%?
10% of the entire budget.
So I think his understanding was 10% of each line item, that's why there's
No.
weird amounts.
No, you could
You could just
zero out.
You could take a total of 120,000, or 110,000, as long as your budget was 1.1 million, you could move that entire fund into that fund.
Right,
So,
you could, that's correct.
so I don't see what, he's not a cabinet, the way he wants a cabinet here.
It looks like he's just moving,
I think it is.
he's moving 11,000 and 9,500 to legal services from two different funds. That's fine. We just have to do separate resolutions. There's no problem with that.
But is that sufficient, enough money?
Does anyone,
I mean,
This
Well,
is
it's for him.
what he submitted.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Too much money?
Well, is there anything wrong with us approving all three of this for the transfer because it don't exceed anything and then they can adjust their numbers later?
Obviously, he'll need more to cover the rest, but
Right,
it
I mean,
seems like it's.
It seems like you go
Start.
through, but I mean, as long as,
So my understanding with Andrew was that you can only move 10% of each line item.
Right.
So that's why it's weird amounts.
right,
So that's why he did it like that. But if he would have known that's 10% of the entire budget,
he could just
I
take it
think he
from,
would have done it
yeah.
a little different.
So why would we want to do this and not make it right?
You could vote no.
Or we don't
Not do it,
even,
vote yes.
we don't even have to vote no or yes, because we don't have it on the agenda yet.
It is on the agenda.
I mean, it's on the agenda, but we haven't had a motion.
Right, we're discussing it.
We don't have a
Maybe we
motion.
shouldn't be discussing it.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Yeah, well, Luann left and, she always catches us on, she's so good at,
Luann's here.
I know, she walked out for a second. So anyways, I would just say that we just,
What is the immediacy of him needing the money? The reason I say that is if there's no immediacy, then you can allow him to put it together in a single package with a proper understanding and just let this go for now.
yes.
May I,
What?
would it be appropriate to make a motion to adjourn or recess for 10 minutes while we contact him and ask him how he'd like to proceed?
I don't see that, yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, if he wants to get something passed, he could have come to us. I mean, I don't see what we're doing, I just don't see what we're doing with, doing a half a job here. What just passing, regular resolution, next meeting? What do you need? Unless, does he need this money?
Okay, so this is what Andrew put forward.
I mean, I have no problem voting for this, I just don't think it's accomplishing its goal.
Supervisor Leto?
Yeah.
Could Supervisor Gasser have called our attorney and got that information?
Actually, we had a phone conference with Mr. Lutzo and Mr. Gasser to talk about this. I don't know if maybe it wasn't clear. It was not, it was a telephone conference, so it was
Okay.
not face to face.
All right,
So I don't know.
I just was wondering.
We had a conference on what we wanted to accomplish, I just don't think this is accomplishing, I mean, we're moving money over to legal, if that's fine, if he needs that money for next month's bill, then we can vote for it. I mean, it's, then we can always do another one next month. Or,
Well, his, how much was his bill? Was
20,000 from the funds.
21,000.
20,000, yes.
Well, I think his.
What are the total amounts that
Just
we said?
so the board knows, the legal services line item for the road and bridge fund is $25,000. I have no idea what was expended, but we know that we're paying a bill for $20,000. So you'll have 5,000 remaining, plus or minus for next month.
No, so we probably have to pass these.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we have to have a corrections on these, which would be the 12th day of April, where it's adopted. Can we stand right those?
Yes. you can with those.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay. All right, so I'd like a motion, can we pass all three at once?
I don't know. Number of them we're talking about. I would tell you in this case, just because each one of them has different amounts.
Each one in the bottom right corner is listed with a different code.
Okay, in that case,
RB1,
if you,
RB2.
yeah, if you refer to them by some designation like that, sure you could.
Okay,
vote on all three.
I'd like to have a motion, RB1, 71217, RB2, 71217, RB3, 71217, RB3, and I'd like to first, I don't know, can I do this or? make these changes?
Yeah, we'll just handwrite the changes and,
One that's got the changes.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Did you make the motion?
I can't make a motion.
Oh, okay.
I'm learning from the boss.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Give you an entertainer.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the resolution or transfer to appropriation Township RB listed RB1, RB2, and RB3, each individually amended in the last sentence. Instead of reading adopted this 12th day of April 2007, instead reading adopting this 12th day of July 2017. I'm sorry, I said 2017.
First sentence, too.
Sentence
The budget was adopted.
was when the budget was adopted.
That was right. Okay.
That was correct.
Okay. And, well, how about invite the chairman, chairperson, or is it supervisor?
sure, first of all, I don't think that's really relevant. Problem.
Okay.
I mean,
Second.
the supervisor.
Okay.
I'll second it.
You're late.
Huh?
You're
I did
late.
it, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
The only thing I was gonna mention is even that, as long as it's the date it's adopted, that's what really matters when the vote is taken. Now, it's good enough, it's a smart thing to do is to take the April at the bottom off, but it is the date it passes.
Thank you. Roll, or any discussion?
Yep. Dear Algonquin Township residents, please take heed that what we're passing tonight will transfer from funds rightfully allowed in the sum of $70,500.
All right.
And before we vote, do we have the correct understanding of Attorney Kelly is that the trustees, this board, if it's a legally expensed item, we have to vote in the affirmative. Is that correct?
Well, if it's a legal, I'm not sure what it has to do with this ordinance, but
It's allowed by statute to transfer the money out of the fund, so.
with respect to this, we can transfer these funds.
Okay.
This is a law.
But if you're asking after a bill shows up, and you vote no on the bill,
Yeah.
just because you transfer it, you can still vote no on the bill.
Okay,
I believe.
all right.
Any other
I guess
discussion?
we're on any other business before the board?
No, we can vote.
Yeah, vote.
Thanks.
Okay,
Roll call.
trustee Chapman,
Yes.
trustee Shay,
Yes.
trustee Lawrence,
Yep.
supervisor Windsor.
Yes.
Okay. The amended passes, and now you need to vote on them individually. Those are my notes.
No, we
Those
It's all, there's only one,
That's it?
it's all three with
did them all together.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. These are yours.
Yep.
All right. So,
I believe we're on any other business before the board now.
okay.
Okay. Just as this is going around to sign it, the expenditure report board of trustees, be the undersigned for any of the one that all of us trustees signed here for the road and bridge fund. It still states the original amount of $2,052.72, where we all voted in the affirmative to remove 3 bills totaling $101,828.41. shall I just correct that amount or?
Exactly what you voted on.
Right.
Dollar is just, is to be adjusted, but actually, the actual payments were removed.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I think we're entertaining a motion to adjourn, right? Did someone make that
I'll
motion?
make that motion, I can do it.
Second?
Aye.
Do I have a second? Dave?
Dave, you second the motion to adjourn?
Not a second.
Trustee Lawrence?
Yes.
No, are you second?
Oh, yeah, sure.
No.
Trustee Letso? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Supervisor Letso?
Yes.
Trustee Shay?
Yeah.
Trustee Lawrence?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, residents. No,